Welcome back to another episode of the Classics in Conversation. Today we're talking about Jaws, and we're joined by Sarah Buddery. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, I'm so excited. Don't know if you can tell, bit of a Jaws fan, so...
Yes,
really?
absolutely.
I had no idea.
So, would you like to give us a little intro and explain to the people at home why we chose you for this episode?
I wonder why. Yeah. So I'm Sarah, and Jaws is my favourite film of all time. If anyone follows me on Twitter, they probably would know this already. This is not brand new information. And I now host a Jaws podcast as well called Let's Jaws for a Minute, where we go through Jaws minute by minute. So I've seen a lot of this film, particularly recently.
Yeah.
In minute chunks. I did watch it in full ahead of recording this, just because, you know, it's always fun to watch Jaws.
Any excuse, yeah?
Any excuse, absolutely. And yeah, I also write for Jumpcart Online and host Jumpcast as well. So, busy lady.
Yeah, very busy, very busy.
Excellent pedigree for this episode here,
yes,
as you can see.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you'll be like hot on the trail with all the facts and figures.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, this bit is kind of like you've already kind of given us your opinion, but what's your opinion on the film?
Yeah. Jaws is the greatest film ever made. That isn't up for debate for me. I just think it is the perfect combination of everything you want in a film. It has great tension, incredible acting. It's about so much more than just what you think on the surface level. It's not just about a shark, contrary to popular belief. And its impact that it has had on cinema as a whole is just incredible. It's still talked about now as one of the greatest films of all time. It is on ITV4 probably every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair.
And people still watch it every week. Yeah. Like I always see the little when people are tweeting along and watching it, and every week it seems people are watching it, and that's great to interact with those people. And if I find someone who hasn't seen Jaws as well, I'm just like, welcome. I love you.
Welcome,
let me take you on a journey.
What about you, Georgie?
It's all right. No, I'm joking. No, I
kick her out.
Yeah, you have no authority here, Tinsley.
Yes, I do.
It's exactly like you said, Sarah. It's one of those films that is one of the greatest films of all time for a reason. And I think for a lot of people, Jaws is probably one of the first, I mean, it was for me, one of the first kind of scary films you see. Like, it was one of the first films that I watched. It was like, spooky. And I think it's the film that, when I was little, I used to want to be a marine biologist. Then I watched this, and then I didn't. So I think that you know?
Jaws ruining dreams since 1997.
I also nearly drowned twice, but probably this more than...
God.
Yeah, whatever. I think it's, like you said, there's so much about this film that has changed cinema and changed kind of the way we make films and the way we watch films. It's just fantastic, isn't it? There's nothing about it that isn't completely iconic. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you, Hev? Do you like Jaws?
Yeah, I like it. I really like sharks.
Sharks scare me.
Yeah, we had
obviously
slightly. Obviously, yeah. I really like sharks. I'm like a real big fan of an aquarium. So yeah, I'm always like, I think that's probably the first shark film I ever watched. I really, really vividly remember watching it in Year 9 GCSE English. And was a little bit in particular that we'll talk about later, which is like why it's one of my fondest memories of that particular module. And yeah, I really like it. And I always think I like the book as well. I actually must admit it's not my favourite one of his books. because he also did one about squid. So I like that one more because it's way creepier because I hate squids. So yeah. I'm a big fan of the sea. Like I hate all the creepy things in it. So it's one of them like love to hate relationships. So I always really like I like it all. It's a good film. I think it's the only PG that we're gonna like talk about in this series. But I think it's still like you say, like there's some like really scary elements, and I think like I would definitely hesitate to like let a small child watch it because it's definitely like distressing.
I wish someone hesitated to let me watch it. That would be great.
Dash my dreams. Was like, let's go and watch Exorcist. It'll be a great time.
Literally, I think she was like, she's bad at maths. She'll never be a scientist. I don't want to break it to her. I'll just show her Jaws. I think that was what it was. Nice. The easier way of doing it. Yeah. Now I have a film podcast. Thanks, Mom.
Okay, so in terms of adaptation, then, have you guys read the book before? Yeah. So what do you think in terms of adaptation? Because obviously there are quite a few mega differences. But...
I think this is one of those rare occasions where the film is actually better than the book. I don't know how controversial that is. I know there's a fair few people that agree. They're incredibly different. I think that the best way to go into the book is having seen the film first. And again, that's I would normally say the other way around, like read the book, then see the film. Because they are so different, and I like that the book goes a lot more in detail about Amity and the kind of the underhand stuff there is. I mean, there's characters who have like mafia connections and all this kind of like wild stuff that I think you get hints of in the film, but it's very, very subtle, and it's much more about the dynamic between the three main characters. I really hate Hooper in the book, and he's my favorite character in the film.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so the whole stuff with Hooper and Ellen in the book, I think I don't like it at all, and I think doesn't do justice to that character. I think they do a much better job with that character in the film, but I would say both definitely have merit. Obviously, the film more so. But if people haven't read the book, I would say read it, because it is so different, and you can sort of see where those subtleties in the film come from, because they're explored in a lot more detail in the book.
I think you're right. Like I think I definitely think like the film is they're so different. Like they are almost like entirely different stories. Just both happen to be about a shark on an island. And like you say, there's a lot more detail about like Amity in the book. Whereas in the film, I think we're quite focused on it being like a really nice, quintessential, like American little village, like little seaside town or whatever. And yeah, I really liked the detail of that, sort of going and seeing that like actually underneath there is like something else going on, almost like the calm ocean, where underneath there's something going on.
Nice.
Yes, thank you. And I like that aspect, and I think the ending, I mean, I was going to be like spoilers, but like it came out in 1975, this film,
and
so
it's
like
Jaws,
so come on. I think the ending in the book, where it just sort of dies due to injuries rather than an explosion, is quite like a good book ending, because you're kind of like you're reading at a pace that is sort of like your own pace regardless of the pacing of the book. That makes sense. But like the film is like ramping and ramping and ramping and ramping, and then there's an explosion, so you're like, oh good, okay. And you sort of get that again, like we were saying this with Psycho yesterday, you get that kind of neat and tidy American wrap up of an ending, which they're quite fond of. Whereas the book, I think you could be left a bit like, wow, like, okay, I'm glad it's over, but it's not like a payoff. because he just died. And it's sad. And I said this before, like, I love sharks. And I'm sad that there was like a noticeable decline in sharks after this book and film came out. Shut up, Georgie! Such a bad dick.
I just think it's really funny because I think all of our favourite films are based on books. And I think, you're the only person who I think book can give film a run for its money in Silence of the Lambs. Because
I was like, can it?
I think it's because mine's Jurassic Park, and great book. Why read that when you can watch the film? The
book hasn't got Ian Malcolm in his outfit.
Exactly, precisely. And I think it's really interesting. I think what you said, Sarah, is really, really interesting. It is better, I think, in this case, to watch the film then go to the book, because it does feel like more kind of backstory. So you watch the film, like, that's cool, I'm going to research it, I'm going to go read the book and get that kind of backstory of it, which I think is a really interesting way of doing it. And I agree definitely about the ending as well. It reminds me kind of like of Moby Dick, in that it's this book about a sea creature that has so many implications. It's like colonialism and the whaling industry and capitalism, but also it is just a book about a whale. And like, it is a book about like the life of a shark, who, that's why I think the ending in the book, like you say, it's not kind of pyrotechnics and it's a lot more natural, I think. You know?
The ending of the book, I think, is like, it's not like a man victory. Like, it dies because of his injuries, which, have been caused by the men. But, like, the actual explosion is, like, a direct kill from these fellas. So it's like, is the shark the true victor? I mean, no, because he's dead, but also, yes.
I didn't like to say, but
it's, like, less of a victory than if, like, you'd killed your enemy outright.
It's not like a one-shot no-scope. It's like,
There's no scope in a shark.
They're big. You don't need to do that.
They are big. That's a very good point. The models for the shark were 25 feet long.
Jeez Louise. See how that's scary. 25 feet is big.
I mean, these ones,
they're cute.
They're lovely. These ones are made of metal, to be fair, so you probably would have been safe. But yeah, so they had three. They had three robot sharks called Bruce. They had a left. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, Sarah. This is like recalling some knowledge. They had a left side and a right side, and a face, I think. And they kept breaking always. And the fact that they tested them, I think, and made them on the Universal lot, which is why I think they had one still on the ride for like a good amount of years afterwards. But then obviously they put them in the sea, and the salt water was like, you're not going to work anymore. So they sunk a lot and they broke a lot. And that's why a lot of the shark is filmed from its point of view instead of like watching it go by. And if you watch, you'll sort of notice that there is a lot of the same shark scene kind of used a few times, which is fine. Like, we'll let them off for that. You got big robo sharks. And I think that point of view is like a real game changer for like the whole feel of the film.
Yeah, it's when I think like some of the greatness of Jaws comes from the circumstances, which is why a remake would just never work, because if you had a shark, a model or CGI or otherwise that worked flawlessly all the time, you wouldn't have those great moments that the film gives you. So part of the reason why the score came about, or is what it is, and I guess we'll talk loads about the score when we get to it, but is used so often, is in place of the shark. So in pretty much the whole first half of the film, you barely see the shark. So the score works as the stand-in for the shark, signifying when it is present. And obviously, like you said, they use those shots like from the shark's perspective as well. And is the whole reason why they had to have why they used the barrels in the end as well, so you can see something without actually having to see the shark.
Yeah.
So a load of stuff that just sort of like seems to come together and work perfectly. And I think it's something that monster movies now don't take on board maybe as much as they should, that sometimes less is more. And the less we see the shark in Jaws, the scarier it is, because it is built up so much so that we don't really see the shark properly until the, you're going to need a bigger boat moment. So and that, it really is chef's kiss moment.
Oh yeah.
You haven't seen this thing the whole time. It's been building and building up to this point, and then you see it, and then it is like you're taken aback because you've spent so long building up to something you haven't seen, and that's what makes it scary.
This is it. It's like our cardinal rule for me. And I'll say it every single episode.
You will, yeah.
If you show me the thing I'm supposed to be scared of, it's not scary, except sharks. They're always scary. And admittedly, it's just over 2 hours, isn't it, the film?
Yes.
And controversially, I will go against my own rule.
Oh.
I don't think there is a minute wasted. I think that is a perfect time. And that's from staunch hour-and-a-half film fan here.
I wonder, I think that's really interesting because, like you say, you sort of don't feel like any of that time is wasted.
Yeah, there's not any part you could take out. I think it all, adds to the film and needs to be there, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, obviously, like you say, like, if you were to remake now, which would be a crime, you would lose, I think, a lot of the charm. And we say this every week also, that there's a sense of authenticity that you get with a practical effect or, an animatronic build that you don't get with CGI. Because, like, this might date now, but, it came out in 1975, so of course it's going to look a bit dated. Yeah. CGI is going to date tomorrow, and you're going to be like, that's really bad. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you pump into it. Like, Godzilla is going to look like a man in a suit in 20 years' time, regardless of how much money you put in it.
This is it. Like, I think what you said, Sarah, is really interesting. Like, the kind of the score being the stand-in for the shark. And I think that if you had oversaturated it and just used, like, the head, like, constantly, then it would be like... But the fact that you see it so infrequently and that tension's built up and built up and built up, I think it just works so well. It's 1975. I always forget how old this film is. I always put it kind of like mid-80s. But it's 1975. So geez, cut the shark some slack, man. He looks great for his age.
Cut the sharks some slack.
Yeah, not me. I won't. Everybody else.
I will defend that shark until my dying day. This is one of my things I feel most passionately about when people are like, the shark looks fake, the shark doesn't look good. I'm like, 1, it's 1975. 2, I think it actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
For the time, I have watched more terrible CGI shark films than I would like to admit, sure.
I admit those quite frequently.
We will get onto that later.
I'm a big fan of them.
Yeah, and they all look awful. And even like some of the films in the Jaws franchise, the shark in Jaws 3 looks absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
Partly because of the 3D thing, but also just because it looks awful. But a model is not going to age in the same way that CGI does, like you said. And I think that, yes, it does look like it was made in the 70s in some respects, but it's also timeless. And I think that when you have a really good practical effect, it's going to be much harder to date that film, and it's going to be much harder for it to show its age because it just looks so much better. It's a tangible object. That's like this thing in the sea. It's not something created by a computer.
This is it, and me talking about Jurassic Park again. But like, look at that dinosaur. If you look at the Jurassic World films, they look cute, like little velociraptor, little babies. But they, in 5-10 years, will look like kind of Minecraft dinosaurs. but you still look at that T-Rex. Looks better than me for the same age, and it just is beautiful
just
stuff.
as scaly.
Yeah. I love it.
No, you're right though, and I don't know whether that's like us looking at it with a little bit of like a nostalgia glasses on, but like I do think they look great, and I love how like solid they are, and like they don't look like something just made on a screen. You know, they're so. I mean, they must have been so hard to build, like, and I think a lot of like my love for it is like a part of it is just like appreciation for that craft.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Oh my gosh, if I had like a choice of a job, it would be prop builder any day. Like I would love to do that. That'd be amazing. You'd be like, just find me in the lot amongst like the mummy and the vampire whatever, and I'd have a great time.
If you've not delved into film prop TikTok, you are missing out, because there is some excellent stuff on there. A little tip from me and you there, guys.
Yeah, and I think there's so much about that, like the practicalness that I really, really enjoy, and I think that's right. Like I think that's why it's just kept its like timelessness. And we touched upon it a bit. We always talk about the cultural impact that these classics have. And I think the main one, which I know we're sort of itching to talk about, is obviously the score. And like how two notes have basically become like synonymous with all sharks ever. The same way that the Psycho that we were talking about in the last episode, music from the shower screen is now synonymous with all knives ever.
It's an incredible thing that particularly a score that's so simple could do so much both within the film and outside of the film as well. I mean, I think before I had even seen the film, because I didn't see this film as a kid, I think I saw it when it came out on Blu-ray. I can't remember when exactly that was, but that was the first time I saw it. But even as a kid, even though having no knowledge of Jaws, having never seen it, I knew that was the song you sang when you were like playing sharks in the swimming pool and you were going to go and drag your friend under. Like, how do you know that? How do these things just kind of like pass through to you by like cultural osmosis or something? That
it's like ancestral memory.
No, I'm fairly sure it's like a Jonathan Ross Christmas special that you've watched with like your mum and dad. It's like Boxing Day and you're watching the 50 best cinema moments ever.
Yeah, this is true.
It's like one of those things, isn't it? Like I think every human's born just knowing the words to Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't remember learning them, but I know that I know them. I think it's like that with like Jaws and Psycho. Like you just
I definitely did not pick up that bit of like osmosis.
Good, sorry. Yeah, imagine winning an Oscar for playing E and then F over and over again. What am I doing with my life?
Playing F and G. I don't know what that sounds like.
Not as good. Not as good.
No. Your problem is you're doing it on the saxophone instead of the piano.
Not as great.
but that's jazzier.
That's
two
jazz shark. Josh Sharp.
I might like him. I might like him.
He's a cool guy. Yeah, I think it is amazing. I think, like you say, because it's just so like, it's just so iconic. I would wager you know, that's probably the most iconic part of the film, alongside We're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat. Like I think,
and the iconic camera zoom in. That's just
Ooh, yeah.
I think that the score is certainly one of the more like memorable. For me, it's hard just because I love every single thing about this film.
For sure.
But I think that if you say to someone Jaws, they will probably like sing or you know, hum the score back to you just because that's what they know it for. And I think I like to think this is true anyway, that Spielberg thought it was a joke when John Williams like played those two notes. He was like, I've got something real good for you, Steven, get ready, and then like played those two notes, and I think he just like laughed, but then it ended up sticking. So
yeah, and it got him like the Oscar for it as well. So you'd be like, if you'd have been like no and you'd used it elsewhere, you'd be like, ooh, I could have said yes. Yeah, because I think like this film especially like seemed to be the one that launched like quite a lot of the careers So it's certainly like Spielberg's sort of first real big hit, I think.
Yeah. Imagine being these people, Steven Spielberg, John Williams. I made that just, off the bat. Just have some Jaws. Do you know what I mean?
These 17 other amazing films. And you're like, that's a busy guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially I think as well, like Richard Dreyfuss as well, and like Robert Shaw. I think they got like sort of, this was the one that like cemented it for them. And I think that's got a lot to do with like how it was distributed, especially like Georgie's going to tell us some excellent facts about the cinema, because this is like my favorite part of all of the Jaws trivia.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. So Jaws was massively, wildly successful, and it's often chalked up to being the kind of inception, the creator of blockbusters and summer blockbusters. But a lot of people believe that it was just so hot that summer that people were queuing around the block to get in to see this film, just because there was aircon in cinemas. And not to distract from Jaws, I think I would also queue up to try and get some aircon. But I mean, I think the effect it had on the way that we consume cinema, and the notion of a summer blockbuster, because it was a summer release in the US, wasn't it? And then a Boxing Day winter release in the UK. It had to come out in the summer. It had to, because people are going to the beach and checking out, chilling out and getting eaten by sharks. And I think the way that it came out in the cinemas, and it was massive, it was huge. And I think that's fantastic. Culturally, it's just such a cool. Imagine creating the blockbuster that that was something your film did. Oh, love that.
Yeah, it's films like Jaws that then paved the way for films such as Star Wars and Jurassic Park obviously is from Spielberg as well, but those films that came later that weren't just films, and they weren't just like the must-see films of that time or of those years, they were the must-see events. And I think that's where we get these sort of like event cinema things from, like where we get these Marvel putting out their big blockbusters usually in the summer, or that kind of like July August period, like in the cinemas, well, when they're open, is when you sort of see those big like action blockbusters, those big high budget films come out, and it's Jaws that we have to thank for it. And if I could go back in time to anything, it would be to go back to 1975 and see Jaws in the cinema with a sort of like that audience and experiencing that excitement about it. And I mean, my parents, they're not really into like horror films or anything, but both of them went to see Jaws when it came out, because it was just the thing that you did. Like everyone was going to see it. Like they would have been 15 or 16, I think, when it came out. So and it was just like, that's what the teenagers did. You went with your group of mates and you went to see Jaws because it was just this big film that everyone knew and everyone spoke about. And I think we kind of take that for granted a bit now, just because we have so much content all the time. But like a film that you would queue round the block for, I don't know when we last had a film like that. That
whole concept of even just queuing is like completely alien. The only time I have queued outside of like film festivals which is like queuing central. Is to go to Endgame's midnight showing. And even then, like, that was like 2 minutes because you were already inside.
Because I was there 3 hours before everybody else.
And that was like the last time that I'd seen like our view, like full queue out the door into the car park, all the way around. And it was amazing. And that was a cinema with 14 screens?
Yeah, it was a big cinema, but it was quiet, and I'd never ever seen it that busy.
No, and I think the fact that like you can have a cinema that would have, I mean, I'm not really sure how many screens like a typical American cinema would have. Like, I'm thinking like 7 max for like a small one in the 70s. You're going to be queuing, like really queuing. And I think it's incredible that like there was a time before that there was no cinema times. Or when they were distributed, they went like big cities first, then smaller cities, and then maybe towns. But like I think Jaws did like a mass distribution, so like I think it went everywhere like straight off the bat, which is going to make such a difference. Spielberg was like, I'm just going to give this to everyone and see you later.
Counting my money.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'll wake up and I'm gonna start a revolution today with this film.
Like, and that's the thing. It's so bizarre because so many of the films that we speak about in the classics are either sleeper hits or got like embarrassingly panned, and people are like, this is the worst film ever, and then it becomes one of the 50 must-see films before you die.
I assume that's what's going to happen with Van Helsing.
I'm waiting.
Any minute now, it's going to hit its peak.
I might watch that later. But I think with Jaws, it just completely not. Well, for a start, it's PG. So like Sarah, you said your parents went to see it when they were like 15, 16. You couldn't really do that with like Psycho, probably. You know, I think that kind of wider, can you imagine? God, that wider appeal, if you like, definitely goes in its favour. But oh my God, it's still so scary.
Yeah.
Even as a PG, and I think that's testament, like you said, the score and the tension and the pacing of the film. That's just good filmmaking, you know?
Yeah, it really is. Like a child and a dog gets eaten. Like that's. Like,
I was very sad when the dog got eaten.
Yeah,
the child, but the dog, no.
It's the biggest. That's like the biggest sad point of all. The dog. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually the thing that makes me take, at the very least, half a star off a film. So Jaws is the only film that escapes that, and my justification is you don't see the dog get killed, and also I like to think that the dog is just really smart and he just like swam off and was
okay, like in the Meg.
I was about to say like in the Meg.
Yeah, it's like, I'm having none of this. He's just, even though his owner is like, Pip, where are you? He's just like, I'm off. I'm just gonna go back to the home, and I don't want to be around here when the chaos hits. So
just like looking for Jason Statham. That's what he's doing.
That's
what he's doing. Yeah.
Aren't we all? Do you know what I mean? Like,
no. We've been through this. We're not going to get into your Jason Statham love right now.
I love him and his little bald head. Anyway, so what you saying about it being scary? Like, it is scary. Like, this is my little story about year 9 English. So we watched it for, I think probably for like a literature adaptation review kind of thing.
Nice.
So we watched Jaws, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. I'm so excited. And the popular boy was like, oh, this is going to be shit. This is so rubbish. It's so old. And we watched it. And then right at the end, when that head pops up at the window, he screamed so loud and cried he had to go home.
You truly love to see it.
I've literally never forgotten that part. And he used to be like, oh, you're a dirty goth. And I was like, well, you cried at Jaws. So, soz. Yeah.
Oh,
good memories.
Poetic cinema.
So I literally cannot watch that scene without being like, Nick cried.
Nick cried.
Yeah.
Nick, if you're listening, you're a pussy.
Woo! Language. Yeah. Well, we're no longer a PG podcast.
Will we ever?
No.
I do have a question though.
Oh, okay.
So obviously, Jaws not only changed cinema, it also inspired an entire genre of shark films.
Yeah, it did.
So, fantastic stuff, really. Shark Week, everything is just, they scare me.
Into it now.
But I like to be scared by it. I don't want to go near them. I will look at them from afar and be scared by them. Apart from Jaws, what's your favourite shark film?
Mine, I was just going to be really annoying then and be like, Jaws 2.
No.
Outside of the Jaws franchise.
Jaws the Revenge. No.
Yeah, it's not as bad as people say. I think probably Deep Blue Sea. I think that's probably
a choice.
An obvious one, but I actually, even though like a lot of people like Jaws is the gateway to all the other shark films, and for a normal person, yes, it is. But I saw Deep Blue Sea before I saw Jaws.
Yeah, I think Deep Blue Sea was like you say, like not like an event cinema kind of thing, but I remember going with a bunch of friends to watch that.
Yeah, it was sort of like, not too scary, but you could like, because I'm a big old wuss when it comes to horror. I just can't do it for the most part. But I think that was one where it was kind of like, oh, it's not that scary. It's more this sort of like silly action film. And yeah, that was the one where then after that everyone was like, oh, if you like that, you have to see Jaws. And I was like, let me check it out.
Nice.
That's a really good choice.
I'm really torn.
Mine was like The Meg, so like...
I mean, like, I love The Meg, obviously, because it's got Jason Statham in it, and I love the Megalodon. Like, what a concept. Right, the This is the conversation we had yesterday. So, we were talking to Emily Murray, who joined us for our Psycho episode, and we asked her real quick who her favourite shark was, and it was Bruce from Jaws. And I was recalling... Yeah, this is correct. Yes, thank you. And I was recalling the gals how I'd heard someone pronounce a megalodon the other day, and how it nearly made me sick from laughing. And I'm just trying to find the message because I actually pronounced it wrong, but I got corrected.
Was it Megalodon?
Megalodon. But this is like I'm not being like an asshole. Like I don't mean to laugh and pronounce whatever you want to pronounce. But it was the sincerity of this conversation that came out of nowhere. They were playing Battlefield, and apparently there's just like a shark in one of these modes or whatever. And he was like, yeah, and apparently there's a megalodon in the water, and like actually they're real. And I was like, what? What are we talking about? It was beautiful. So I loved it. I'm not going to reveal who that person was though, because that'd be mean.
I do need to know. Was it Nick? Was Nick back?
Nick. I talked to Nick now. He was
a classic Nick.
Classic Nick, yeah.
I haven't talked to that kid in like 15 years, thank God. No, yeah, I think mine is... I mean, I love The Meg for its silliness. And when they capture it and then they're like, oh shit, there's another one. That. I love that because he caught it and I was like, it's not very big. And then like it actually turns up. I was like, all right, it's partying now. I saw that in the cinema and I had like an absolute riot. Like no one else was having a good time and I was like cackling. I think mine is either, I'm going to have to do a tie, 47 meters down.
That's it. I was just googling
criminally unappreciated. Yes.
I was like 62 meters to 34 meters. I was trying to Google all the different depths because I couldn't remember what it was called.
In the water, sharks, and the Shallow. Is it the Shallow?
Shallows.
Yeah, with Blake Lively. And I love that because it's a little bit silly because the shark's not got a vendetta. He would leave. He wouldn't just wait for you. But I just liked that for the same reason as like 47 meters down. Like I really liked the sort of endurance element because you're just stressed for hours. Yeah, and I love 47 meters down. I really like shark films. I'm so excited. So I'm like, oh my god.
Me too.
Oh, it's so good. We'll have to have a whole shark episode. We'll do like a shark week.
We'll do Shark Week, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do some creature features. Because this is like what you were saying before. They're not, I don't think like some of these shark films are like particularly like horror films. They're like their own special like, danger film with animals. Like, do you know what I mean? Like arachnophobia. It's terrifying if you're scared of spiders. But it's not, is it a horror film? Lake Placid, right? It's about gigantic alligators and Betty White, but it's not really a horror film. But is it just an action film?
It's like psychological, maybe, I guess. Psychological drama.
Psychological warfare. Jordan, the sharks aren't out to get you.
They are.
It is my weird like loophole when it comes to horror because I will sometimes I could be persuaded to watch a horror at home if like the lights are on and I've got a pillow or something to hide behind.
Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon is safety horror time.
Right, but at the cinema it's just a no-go because it's dark, it's loud, and I get scared really easily. But I can watch things like what was the alligator one that came out a few years?
Crawl.
Swim.
Crawl,
Swim.
yeah.
What I'm talking about, yeah.
Swim.
Yeah,
Be
Crawl.
quiet.
I really like.
That was a good film. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to see 47 Meters Down at the cinema as well on The Shallows. So that seems to be like they don't scare me or bother me at all. Those sort of like creature feature monster horror movies don't bother me. So
yeah, I love them. I love a good bad shark movie. I must admit, I think I've seen like the majority of the sand sharks and the three-headed and the were Sharknado.
When he comes out,
I have like an amazing one that I'm actually gonna have to double check the name of. I get my shark category up.
Jesus, that's it. I think 47 meters down. Now I finally know how many meters down they were. That film was so stressful to me.
Yes,
absolutely. I think I just don't like deep water. Like, no. And I think, I mean, sharks. I think what makes sharks so scary, apart from the fact that they're terrifying and have big teeth, is Sarah looks so sad. Is that we're out of our element, aren't we?
Yes.
You know, in water, you can't. What can you do in water? That's not where we're meant to be. We're land creatures, and so they have that advantage. You're going to use it as the intro bit.
I am.
And they look so prehistoric. They look like dinosaurs. They shouldn't be swimming around with like 8 rows of teeth. It's that look and it's that vibe and it's being out of your environment. That even just seeing one, you're like, oh no. So team that with the most menacing 2 notes in the history of music, you know, and people getting eaten and explosives, it just makes for the most tense film. I just think, beautiful. So much.
I agree. Right, I found it. It was Sharktopus versus Petracuda. Yes.
Of course, I've seen it.
And there's also Sharktopus versus the whale wolf. Yeah,
that sounds up my street.
It's got Casper Van Dien in it, which is just the funniest. Casper Van Dien, sorry. Who's a sweetie pie? I must admit.
What's it called again?
I'll send you the file. Sharktopus versus whale wolf.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, I have like a special library that's like just my shark movies.
Stop it.
6-headed, Mega Shark, Sharkenstein, Sharknado 1 through 6.
Yes. Good Lord, woman.
I love shark movies, man.
I mean,
that's where I'm at. And there was definitely like a more sort of like professional opinion that I was going to make, but I'm just distracted by shark movies.
That's very fair.
Yeah. 47 meters down was I was going to agree. I like that because it's bleak. So it goes back into that thing we say most weeks as well, how we like a sad ending.
Yeah.
Love it.
Does Jaws have a sad ending, do we think?
No.
Depends whose side you're on. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I
think it's good because obviously Hooper survived, so my boy is there. But I think that like final exchange, or one of the final exchanges between Brody and Hooper, where he just says Quint and Brody says no. I think it's like the subtlety in the acting in Jaws is so good anyway, but it's just like you knew that one of them wasn't going to make it, and I think that it had all 3 survived. I don't think it would have been quite as powerful, the ending, but it does have that really bittersweet ending of that 2 of them make it, but one doesn't, and that is sad, even though that his death is so iconic and so quite fun to watch as well. I don't know if that's just me being like really the crunch of the jaws as he like into his like torso, it gets me every time. It's so good. But yeah, I like that you sort of have to watch Jaws like right through to the end of the credits as well, because you do then like see them make it to the shore, but there isn't this big like way you're back or anything, so it is quite bittersweet. And Jaws 2 actually deals with a lot of the kind of like trauma that Brody experienced as a result of this as well, which is interesting. They don't have that sort of like hero's return at the end of the film. It's really quite like they've seen some stuff and they're probably going to need some therapy.
That's a really good point. I think I think it is one of those films where you had to have one of them not make it back. Otherwise, it would have just been, I don't want to say unrealistic, because I mean, but I think
that's a documentary, Georgie.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I think that's really, really interesting. I think you are right. And if it had to be one, because if it was two, it'd be a bit too bleak. But one, I think, is sweet spot.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think we've covered all the things that we wanted to cover, unless G, you have any points you want to make?
I want to go on record and say that I don't actually hate sharks, and I don't believe we should be killing them all. They just
protect the sharks.
They make me scared.
That's okay.
And I'm not a bad person.
So. No, you're not a bad person.
I'm not a shark hater. Okay. Just some of them.
Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a sharks quiz. We're going to do a quiz about sharks. So I actually have two, because one's about the films and one's about actual sharks. One's from the Kids National Geographic website.
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to start with? Do you want to go shark films or sharks?
I feel like I would know more about sharks.
Sharks?
Sharks.
Sharks?
I watch a lot of Blue Planet.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Right.
Which is the largest of all the sharks? I have some
shark.
options if you'd like them.
Oh,
you don't. You're going to go straight in. Sarah, do you agree?
I think it's probably the... Yeah, whale shark sounds right.
Options are great white, whale, bull shark, or tiger shark.
Whale shark.
Correct. A whale shark. I'm going to give you the facts as well that came with it. A whale shark can weigh as much as 13 tons, which is the same as 2 African elephants.
Why though?
Okay, this goes into what it was named for. Sharks have existed for approximately how long? 350 million years, 10,000 years, 1 million years, or 10 million years?
I'm going to say 350 million sounds like too much, but also it might be right. So I'm going for that.
Are we going 350?
I think so, because the fish are dead old.
Fish are indeed dead old. Correct. They have these sophisticated creatures have lived on the earth for 350 million years, and they deserve to remain here. Apparently, according to National Geographic.
I think you added that in. I think you added that.
I genuinely did not.
Imagine a sophisticated shark now, with like a monocle.
Monocle, yeah, absolutely.
He's hanging out with the jazz shark, having a great time. What unusual thing can the bull shark do? Survive in fresh water, survive out of water, eat seaweed, or talk?
Well, it's obviously talk.
I was going to say we are going to go for that way.
What's the first one?
Survive in fresh water, survive out of water, eat seaweed, or talk?
Why is eating seaweed unusual?
Because they
eat seaweed.
Yeah, seaweed's delicious.
Bull sharks going down the sushi bar.
That sounds a bit dark.
Out of water.
Okay, I'm gonna go for seaweed because I want some crispy seaweed.
Okay. They can live in fresh water.
Oh, that's more sensible.
Yeah.
Wish it was like they can talk.
Yeah.
Hello. What are baby sharks called?
Oh, sharklets.
Well, one of your options is cubs, fry, pups, or sharkling.
It is pup. I know it to be pup, but I want it to be sharkling.
It is indeed pups. They're born ready to swim and eat.
Oh, that's so cute.
Human babies are useless, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean they're born as basically potatoes, and then baby sharks come out like
yeah,
ready to chomp. Perfect. What are shark skeletons made of? Bone, cartilage, keratin, or they don't have one?
It's cartilage, right?
Yeah.
Go for cartilage.
Because they're bendy boys.
I like the way shark goes.
Thanks.
It is cartilage. Yep, same as your ears and the tip of your nose. I'm glad you pointed that out there.
You're welcome.
After eating a seal or a sea lion, how long can a great white shark go without another meal? A few hours, a day, a week, or a month?
I'm gonna say a month.
I feel like it would be quite long, yeah.
Go for a month?
Food would be like super sparse, right? And
Potentially.
they're baddies for eating seals and sea lions because they're so cute.
It is a month.
Oh.
They prefer to eat seals or sea lions, but they can go a month without eating more than one.
No.
How many teeth can a shark have?
Lots.
Thousands?
Lots.
Hundreds? 50 or 32?
Imagine just having I feel like it's loads because they probably like gnaw on stuff, and think of how many necklaces you see with shark teeth on them. Like,
that's so true. Like,
you know.
You're so right. Shit ton, I'm afraid, is not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think hundreds. Thousands sounds a lot. I don't know.
Hundreds. Georgie? Thousands. All right. It is thousands.
No, it's not.
It
I was
is.
memeing.
It is thousands. Each time a shark loses one of its teeth, a replacement comes forward to take its place.
So my question at that point is, do they like manufacture them? Like, oh, one's missing, we'll make one, or are they just like backed up? Because that's terrifying as a concept.
I think they would probably kind of grow like ours do, I guess. Like, and then when one's going, there's a replacement coming, so they're always kind of coming.
But we don't have a never-ending supply. Like, if we lose them. Like when we're.
I wonder if it's because they're
I'd be so rich.
cartilagey.
The Tusk Fairy.
Tusk Fairy, give me your money. Oh no! Looking at a picture on Google, they're in like rows, like like a stock of them.
Screen share.
Okay, I'm gonna screen share. This is so gross.
I'm ready.
I don't know if you are. Look at it.
No.
It's so grim. It's so gross. I wish we hadn't done this.
I love it.
Look at that one. I can't
Hello.
wait. Look at him with his little mouth. Go down, him. Oh, no.
That's a Mako shark.
I don't care. It's horrible.
It's
I like this guy because I like hammerheads. They're cool. Anyway, I'm going to stop that so you can't cheat on the quiz. I'm going to close that window in a big way. Okay, Georgie, it's okay. There's a really fat shark on my screen now. What organ helps sharks to float? Their heart, spleen, liver, or their stomach?
Oh. I was going to be like swim bladder, but that's not an option. Is that a thing?
His floaties.
His little water wings. What do you think, Sarah? I'm going to cede to your judgment on this one.
I don't know. It's a genuine guess. I'm going to go for... Was stomach an option?
Yes.
I'll go for that.
It is the liver.
Oh, well.
Sorry. Apparently they're big and fat and oily and they help it keep it buoyant. Gross.
It's grim.
What does a hammerhead usually use its unusually shaped head for? Hammering nails.
That one.
Measuring width. Trapping stingrays or swimming faster.
Is it like cat whiskers? You know when they like measure the width?
Yes.
That's cute. Cats are cute.
So are sharks.
Baby ones are quite cute.
Hammerheads are my favourite kind of shark. And also manta rays because they're shark family.
I was like, that's a ray, not a shark. It's in the name.
Yeah.
So maybe swimming fast because they can kind of like cut through the water like that.
Love it. Sarah, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go for the whiskers measuring width.
Okay.
This is why we don't record these in the morning, because then I've got loads of energy and do dumb shit like this all the time. We have to record after work, so I'm not sitting here like this.
It is for trapping stingrays.
No, it's
Oh.
not. How
It
does
is.
that work?
They pin it to the floor and then chew it. I like them a bit less now.
That's like me with a pizza. It's just like,
Get on the floor! She traps her prey with her big flat head.
Yeah, literally, yes. So I was so good at the impression.
It's because you're truly a hammerhead. I've seen Animorph. How many shark species are there?
Oh,
170, 500, 70, or 770?
what do you reckon, Sarah? I feel like
I feel
you
like
would know this.
I wish I did. I don't know as much about sharks as I thought I might have done. I reckon there's a lot. There's 770.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to go
Georgie.
for upper middle. I can't remember the numbers.
70,
No.
170,
Mm,
500, 770.
500.
500. All right. It is 500.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It's 500 too many.
Right, that concludes the serious portion of the shark quiz.
That was the serious
That was the serious
Oh, boy.
portion.
My God.
Now we're on to, is it real or is it fake? Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark.
Real?
Real.
As in, like, a real film, not...
Yeah, not real thing. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
The Shark Whisperer, real film, fake film?
Was that one real or fake? The first one?
This apparently tells me at the end.
Oh. Okay, do you want me to write it down?
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, so number one, you went real film.
Mhm.
The Shark Whisperer.
It's Sarah.
I think it's true. I don't know. I think it was a documentary.
It's like, oh. I
think
feel like
someone's-
it's.
Yeah.
What do we think?
I think someone's just taken the horse whisperer and gone shark.
That's
Maybe
what
that's what
I'm
I'm
thinking.
thinking of.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
we'll go fake. But if it's true, I want to change my vote.
Oh, okay.
Jurassic Shark.
It's real because I've seen it.
Yeah.
Good.
I like their
No,
confidence.
It's
Okay.
terrible. Please don't watch it.
Okay.
Number 4 is Shark, Shark, Shark.
That's what we said earlier about that quiz.
Yeah, I would say fake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, number 5, Avalanche Sharks.
Real because I've seen it.
Number
Is it
6.
good?
No, it's not.
No. Ghost Shark. I think
Also
that's
real.
real. Yeah.
Have you seen it, Sarah?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Yes, it's so good. Every time it's real, I need to know if it's worth watching.
Okay. No.
All right, number 7, Raging Sharks. I think that's fake.
Yeah, I've not seen it. So
Oh my
In
god,
that
this
case,
is such a good
definitely
one.
fake.
There's such a good one coming up. All right, number 8, Sharks of War. I think that's fake.
I want
Yeah.
it to be real
Oh,
so
it's
much,
fake.
but I will.
Number 9. Oh no, sharks.
I so desperately want that to be real.
When we say real, so there's a shred of hope left in the
Oh
world.
my god, I feel like that was you all the way through this podcast. Oh no, sharks.
Literally.
Number
What do
10.
we think?
Oh, I'm going real.
Oh hell
I
yeah!
want to keep the love alive. Okay, number 10, Sharkageddon.
That I haven't seen it, but I mean, it
I
certainly
feel like I've
sounds
seen
real.
it, but I don't know if it's.
I wanna
It's
say
probably
real.
not the one with Bruce Willis, is it? No.
No, that's Farmageddon. Right, I'm going to submit our answers. Okay, number 1 was real film, Mega Shark
Yes.
versus Mega Shark. Number 2, the Shark Whisperer was fake. Yeah, good count.
Okay.
Go on, Sarah.
Jurassic Shark was real.
Unfortunately.
Shark, Shark, Shark was fake. We're doing so well at this point. We're like 5 for 5.
We're all correct. I've
Yeah.
written down the names of the ones that I'm going to watch, as you
Nice.
can see here.
Avalanche Shark, real film.
Boy, is it.
Ghost Shark, real film. Oh my
They're on
god,
the list.
Raging Sharks, real film.
No.
Yeah,
Adding to watch list.
yeah.
Yeah. Writing
Sharks,
down as we speak.
Sharks of War, not a real film.
No.
And Oh No Sharks, also not a real film.
It is
What
in
is
our
the point?
hearts.
That is in our hearts, you're so right. And Sharkageddon is not a real film.
What was I thinking?
That's so disappointing.
I actually might have been thinking about it. Oh my god. Who knows?
Yeah, that was us with the sharks. This has been our Shark Hour.
I think you've all learned something as well, which I appreciate, listeners.
We had some good shark factoids at the end there. So take your newfound knowledge and enjoy it. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sarah, for joining us. You've been a most knowledgeable guest.
Thank you. Yeah, the thing that I have learned is that I have seen too many terrible shark films.
Yeah.
I love
But
that.
it has come in useful. So all the people told me that I've seen too many crap shark films.
Yeah. What did they know?
It's come up good now. So
Yeah.
I feel
thank
really
you.
confident as well that, like, if you went on Mastermind and your specialist was shark movies, you would definitely win.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
Gonna
Egg
make that
on
happen.
their face.
Yeah, I feel confident with that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for joining us. We'll hopefully see you again soon, and we'll be back with another episode next week when we are talking about Scream, if I can remember off the top of my head.
Yes, what my calendar says. So.
Yes, we're talking Scream with the absolutely delightful Eamon Jacobs. So we want to look forward to. And that's all from us for now. So be good, take it easy, be careful in the sea.
Always be careful in the sea. Always. Take it from me. Be careful in the sea. Advice that rhymed is good advice.
I love
Yeah.
that rhyme. I was going to say, like, you're going to deliver us a little warning rhyme for our
I will. In song. We will
song.
post all of Sarah's links as well in the description to the episode of where we can find more shark facts.
Yeah.
But also like movie stuff and podcasts, but mostly shark facts.
Yes. We love them sharks.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.